Hi and welcome to Healthy Life Hacks. I'm Jennifer Jeffries, the present day wise woman. I'm a realistic naturopath coming to you from the surfing beaches of Australia. This show is for those of you who are wanting to really rock your life and rock your health and just live from a place of prevention, not waiting to get sick and tired and sucky. That's it. So let's get into today's episode. Is butter good for you? Is it? When I was a kid growing up, all we saw was butter in the 1960s. And then the late 60s, kind of start of 70s, we started seeing more of margarines and things like that. And there's been so much over the years about butter, about how it clogs your arteries and it does all these kind of things, and how it's, been popular, then it's not been popular enough. And I thought I'd just get rid of a few of the myths and share what I like to put on if I'm going to make a piece of toast or something like that, or I want to use something like butter. I thought I'd share with you what I do. So let's jump into it. First off, what is butter? Well, butter is made from cream, and the way it's made is by churning the cream. So it's like shaking the shit out of it until that milk fat, which is the butter, clumps together and separates from the liquid, which is what's called buttermilk. They drain off the buttermilk, they compact, press and get the butter ready for packaging. That's what it is. So it's the majority of it is just fat, and it's really high calorie, to the extent that 1 tablespoon, about 14 grams of butter, is about 100 calories, guys. It's really dense in calories. Now, butter's also good because it's got some vitamin A and some vitamin D and some vitamin E and some B12 and some K2. And it's got a lot of things in it, but it doesn't have a lot of anything into it, and not enough to be able to really contribute to what we say is your daily intake of those vitamins that you'd need. So as much as it contains some of them, the majority of it is still fat. Okay. Now, grass-fed, I've banged on before about grass-fed options when it comes to dairy. And yes, grass-fed contains better nutrients and more nutrients than, sadly not treated well kind of cows. But it's still dense calories. Okay. So like I was saying, back in, I remember in the 60s, I remember in the early 60s, in fact, my dad, they would get like this giant, it was almost like a foot square block of butter. It was a giant block of butter they used to get. And, which was just, it's a real visual for me. I remember butter. And I grew up with a mum who, I swear she had more butter than she did toast. Maybe that's why she had a quadruple bypass this year. But that's, butter was amongst every meal as a kid growing up. And then margarine started to come in. Personally, I'm not a fan of margarine, and I'll share why, and I'll share how you can make a healthy alternative. I found it interesting about, it's probably 20 years ago, and I did postgrad studies with the Australasian College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine here in Australia. And that's kind of where doctors go to learn about nutrition. And some of the lecturers there were just mind-blowing, and they opened my eyes to so many really interesting things. And one that they opened my eyes to was the fact that it was the margarine manufacturers back in 1959 who invented, or whatever you want to call it, the heart tick. Remember the healthy heart tick that was around until about 2015? It started getting some really, really, really bad press, and so it bloody should, because the way you got a heart tick was you bought the heart tick. So after about 25 years, there was about 2,000 products that carried that heart tick, and so many of them just should never have had a bloody heart tick. So it was really interesting marketing wise. People started to think, well, margarine is better for our heart because it's got a heart tick than butter. But the thing is, butter's close to nature. And that bloody heart tick was invented or started by the margarine manufacturers. Not cool. So nowadays we have this thing called the Health Star rating system, but seriously, it's just as not in exactly the same way. Companies, apply to get the new version kind of thing of a tick, or some of the stuff is beyond borderline. So I'm not a fan of that system. I'm just not. So let's go back to butter. I like butter. I love the taste of butter, but nutritionally, I like butter. I am vegetarian. I'm not vegan. My choice. don't get on me about butter. If you're a vegan, fantastic. You're entitled to your choices, and I'm entitled to my choices. If you aren't vegan, this is why I like butter. Bottom line, it's close to nature. That's it. So with everything I've shared over the time in podcasts so far, the last 6 months, is about how we want to have our food close to nature the majority of the time. That's it. Pretty simple. Now, absolutely, butter is close to nature. Get the milk, do the whole, get the cream, shake it up, turn it into lumpy bits, and it's basically butter. That's it. I love that. It's so close to nature. And yes, grass-fed more than not grass-fed, all right? So butter has that as a pro. It has some cons. And because the majority of it is fat, it has some nutrition, like I said, but incredibly tiny amounts. Now, butter is a saturated fat. And on one of the previous podcasts, I talked all about saturated fats. Now, saturated fats, imagine the easiest way to think about it is how they look outside your body is how they look inside your body. So butter, cheese are solid outside your body, and absolutely, they have the ability to stay solid inside your body. It increases both the bad LDL cholesterol and the good HDL cholesterol. And overall, it's just not as good as polyunsaturated fats from things like nuts and seeds and vegetables. It's just not. So let's talk about margarine. Well, I see no pros in margarine. I just see no pros in margarine. The margarine manufacturers say to you, yeah, but it's lower in saturated fat than butter. Yeah, we're so wonderful. And it's made from vegetables. Yeah, we're so wonderful. And it's got no cholesterol. Yeah, we're so wonderful. The thing they don't tell you is two. One is that as much as it's lower saturated fat, it's still about the same amount of calories as butter. And then the other one is the harder the margarine, the more trans fats. So you say to me, Jen, what's a trans fat? Guys, a trans fat is just bad. So the way they get a runny, let's pretend it's an olive oil, because you've got olive oil kind of margarine things out there. And people go, oh, that's good because olive oil is good for your heart. All the Mediterranean people eat it. So an olive oil margarine, olive oil is runny at room temperature, guys. How do they make it solid? Well, they heat it. They heat it past its smoking point. When they do that, it sends it rancid. Then they pump in hydrogen under heat and pressure so that makes the chemical bond change. And it changes from being runny oil to saturated. It's saturated with its hydrogens, and so it's solid. But the process of them doing that turns it into a trans fat. Guys, it's no good. That shit is dangerous. I will not have margarine, anything to do with it, of any description. I don't care what it's made from. I won't touch it. So what do? Sometimes I like to, have a bit of toast or something with a spread on it. I do, absolutely. So what do? I make my own butter. No, I don't go and milk a bloody cow and separate the cream and then churn it. I am not a churner. I'm just not a churner. But what I do is I go and buy, the old wrapped in paper kind of blocks of butter that you buy from the supermarket. I buy the unsalted block of that. Bring it home. Now, I live in Queensland. Right now, it is summer. It is a hot, sweaty day. If I left a block of butter on the cupboard today, it would be soft, really soft in 5 minutes. I'm not a fan of microwave ovens, so I don't even have one of those in my house. That's a story for another podcast. So, you might want to just warm it in a cool oven or something like that. Just lightly soften it or leave it on the bench long enough, whatever you need to do, depending where you are in the world as to how long it takes to melt. So I get my little block of butter and I put it in a container and I put in equal parts of olive oil. Equal part. I don't measure it accurately, Guy. It visually, that looks pretty equal. Good. And then I get a fork. I do it with a fork. You can put it in a food processor if you like. And all you're wanting to do is to just blend that. So if you're doing a food processor, it's like super quick, like done. I do it with a fork. It's just a thing for me. Anyway, so I just whoop it. When I do that, the olive oil blends with the saturated fats, the butter. Now, what I've got is a product that stays soft, and I just store it into a plastic container and put it in the fridge. And what I have is a product that will spread evenly. It stays soft in the fridge. Okay, depending on how much olive oil determines how quick or determines how solid it is in the fridge. So I put it into a container and put it in the fridge. Now, depending on how much olive oil, I find about equal parts keeps it a really nice kind of spreading texture. That works for me. The more oil you put, the softer that butter mix will be. Easy. I've got a product where the good omega-6s and omega-9s from the olive oil balance out the saturated fats in the butter. Okay, it's no longer so much saturated fat. And I haven't heated it, so there's no trans fats. It's all squeaky clean. And it still tastes like butter. So if you do enjoy butter and you've been using margarines and stuff, please change. It is so easy to make your own. It really is. So the healthy life hacks for today are throw out that bloody margarine. If you are eating any kind of margarine or pre-blended butters, you know, the soft butters that you can just spread in the plastic containers in the supermarket, toss it. Toss it. They're no good, guys. Healthy life hack number 2 is to start making your own butter blend. Make your own. It is so simple and easy, and your body will thank you for it. And healthy life hack number 3 is to just use it in moderation. It's still a fat, so use it in moderation. That's it. If you wanted to get a copy of today's show notes, head to healthylifehacks.com.au. And next episode, tune in, because I'm going to be talking about mirrors. Mirrors, not the kind that you check yourself out in at home. No, I'm talking about the emotional mirrors in life and how they play out in our lives. So make sure you tune into that one. I want to thank you for being here today. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with your friends and scroll down to the comment section, guys. It's below the description of the video, because click into the line that says add a public comment, add your comment, click the comment box, and every month I draw one lucky person who leaves a comment down below to have a free 1-hour consultation with me. Also, be sure to subscribe to the show and like it so that you're always catching that next episode. If you'd like to receive a free copy of my Feed Your Body ebook, simply click the link in the comments below, join my newsletter, and you will get the free ebook sent to you nice and easy. So I welcome your emails. You can write to me at podcast@healthylifehacks.com.au. Until next time, guys, remember that when it comes to life, live it, love it, and get on with it.